Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're taking a look at Steve Holland, Paperback Hero by Michael Stradford, an absolutely essential book if you're into vintage paperbacks. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Okay, so first off, nice large format book. It's in full colour with black and white photos sprinkled throughout, and that's exactly what you need when you're looking at a book of vintage paperbacks. The cover was designed by Bill Cunningham of Pulp 2.0. I'm sure you've seen lots of other examples of Bill's work in the reviews that have been on my channel. He's a great designer. The insides was done by Michael Stradford, the author. I think he's done a fantastic job. Really beautifully presented, and the colours just look absolutely glorious, as we'll see in a moment. Now, this one here is the fourth book in the Steve Holland library. The first one was Steve Holland, The Torn Shirt Sessions. That was followed by Steve Holland, the world's greatest illustration art model. And then last year we had Steve Holland Cowboy. I'll put links to all of this, plus where you can buy them, in the description down below, alongside a link to the excellent Steve Holland book website. So do check those out if you'd like a bit more further reading. So if you don't know much about Steve Holland, basically he was a male model, and he would get photographed in various poses, and then the artists, or a variety of artists, would then use those photographs to create their fantastic book covers. Now, he was very much in demand. His early career was actually an actor, but he became, his actual forte was being a cover model, and very good he was too. And you've probably got in your collection many examples of Steve Holland on the cover without you even realizing it. I've picked out a few today that I saw in this book, and I had no idea that they were Steve Holland. But having read this now, I know sort of what to look for, and I could probably pull out another 20 very easily. Best estimates are that he appeared on at least 3,000 paperback covers. He also appeared on like movie posters and Men's Adventure magazine front covers as well, so he got around a bit. And he worked with all the sort of the top illustrators of the time, people like Ron Lesser, Robert Maguire, Jack Fargasso, James Banner, Mort Kunstler, Norm Eastman, to name just a few. So the book itself is split into 10 sections, each one focusing on a particular sort of genre. And I did sort of flip over that, but they're all sort of listed here. See, there we are. The first one here is Spycraft, so the spy ones. But the actual sections here, so you've got adventure, love and lust, war, cops, robbers and dicks, westerns, science fiction, tough guys, the spy, and bits and pieces, odds and ends. So it's a good way to sort of break them down, really. And sometimes he would be used on an entire series, and occasionally he might actually be used in a photograph rather than just a photograph which was then sort of painted by the artist. But certainly used in lots of series, and he was the all-round sort of rugged American guy, and he was very much in demand. I had no idea he'd done so much, in all honesty. And I think it's fascinating. So you can see that was where he sort of became the part. That a lot of the artists have said that he actually sort of became the part, almost like he was acting. He didn't just stand there and pose. And you can sort of see the action, the dynamic sort of posing there, which was then used on the cover of that book. And there we are once again. There he is with a few props on, and there it is replicated on the book jacket. Absolutely fantastic. I know some of the British artists did this. Sam Peffer famously did it with his wife Kitty, and those photographs have turned up fairly recently, including a lot of the James Bond covers, which was fantastic. I think this is a really good one here, where he's sort of abseiling down the front of the rock, and the way Steve Holland's done it, he's actually got like a step ladder there, got himself dressed up, and recreated the scene. Absolutely brilliant, really. And they did say that he sort of went above and beyond, and he would help the photographers and then the artists get exactly what they were looking for. Really just a sort of a dream to work with. Now here's the first one here. So this one's Flesh. This was one of the Beacon science fiction ones that they did. They did about a dozen of those. I'm only missing 2 or 3, but there is the book in the flesh. And there he is posed, and they're giving him some, in time with the story, they give him some sort of wings around the top there. But there's one of the ones that I spotted that I had in my collection when I was looking through these. I'm sure if I took the time I could probably find loads more, but predominantly, in fact almost exclusively in this book at least, they're American jackets and they're not British jackets, but there's still hundreds and hundreds to see here, which is fantastic. In a lot of cases the actual female models he posed with are not known, but there you are, you know. So this one's interesting. So the actual covers were painted by Rick Holmes and William Ard, but the original photographs were by the other illustrator, Robert Maguire. It's sort of the love ones and the romancy ones. Some of these are very, very famous, and I had no real idea that it was Steve Holland until going through this book. Here's another one I've got, one of my favourites actually, Escape from Colditz. So you can see how the cover has been scanned and really enhanced there. Much better than my original book, which isn't in bad condition. This one's a Berkeley from 1968. Very, very nice. So good stuff, as you can see. It's a couple of 100 pages. And so even if you're not into Steve Holland as the model, just looking at all the fantastic books by genre is a treat unto itself, I think. Now, Michael does say that this is probably the last of the Steve Holland books that he's going to write now, although he is still working on like a comprehensive index or bibliography of all the covers that Steve's appeared on. I mean, that itself is an incredible task, but he says if he ever gets to the end of that, that would be perhaps the final volume in the series. But I think they've done fantastic work. I mean, really, really great. Here's the westerns, and he was a real sort of, he just seemed to fit that genre so well. I think his western covers, yeah, when he's sort of done as a cowboy, just stunning. Now that is actually a British one, a Corgi one. I may even actually have that. I've got a few Corgi Lulamoors. Not sure if I've got that one. It's not a Sackett, but it is a British one, that. So I take it back. There were some British ones in here. The Corgi's the British arm of Bantam in the States. Here he is here again, sort of with a blonde hair this time, and he was a Cherokee. Buchanan series. There we are. I mean, that's literally copied straight from the photograph, that one, isn't it? Very, very good. And when you know, there's excerpts from lots and lots of artists within the text who worked with him, and no one's got a bad word to say about him. I mean, they really haven't. Well, that's one I should have picked up. I probably got that door one. I did dig one out today, which was this one, Incident on Ath. It's a Dumarest one by E.C. Tubb. Ted Tubb. There we are. It's great, isn't it? And there was one in here, I had no idea it was him. I was literally shocked. I thought, oh, I can't believe it's him. But now I've seen it, I realised, yes, of course it's Steve Holland. And it's coming out. Now, these Conan ones are lovely, aren't they? Very, very nice. It's a Bob Larkin again. Quite into Conan at the moment. Been reading quite a bit of those. The original Burroughs ones. But these are great. I love the science fiction covers. Like a Walcott cover there. The Richard Blade series, showing a lot of flesh. Now, this is it. This is Outlaw of Gore now. This is the first printing of this one. This is a Ballantine one from what's the late 60s, I believe, isn't it? These early ones. Oh, it's 1967, yeah. So that's the original one. It's got the artwork, but it's got the rounded corners, making it sort of almost like a vignette. And then Michael's got the reprint scanned in there as well, slightly later one. But I think the actual artwork stands out a bit better on that white background. So the first sort of 6 of the Gore books were published by Ballantine, and then they moved over to Dore. But once again, I've had that book, you know, for 20, 30 years. Didn't realise it was him on the front jacket. Typical, isn't it? There we are. So you can clearly see, just straight copied from the photograph there. And the tough guys section. Great stuff, isn't it? Really, really is. I mean, the only thing is, and it's funny, but because he was sort of a tough guy and he was like the all-American rugged sort of model, you don't see many photos of him smiling or even happy. But I guess he was just posing, and you know, this is it. It's very, very similar to acting. I've got a couple of friends from my acting days who used to do modelling work for magazines, and they said it was really difficult. It was harder than acting. So there you go. I remember getting offered a few bits myself, and I always turned it down because I'd just be afraid I'd be laughing too much. Now, these I'd not seen before. That is a fantastic cover to Goldfinger. With the American ones, because there's so many James Bond books, I do only try and get, I've got all the British ones, but on the American I'm trying to just get the first editions. But this is actually a later reprint from 1972. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I did spot another Bond book earlier on. I don't know if we've gone past it, but it was Diamonds Are Forever, and that was the first edition jacket. So, but it's actually one I'm still looking for in my collection. This is a run of Spider, and they kept reusing Steve Holland for consistency throughout the run, so the books have got like a uniform appearance for people who are buying each one, and these Spider ones are just great. I mean, this is an example where you've got the main picture there, which is used on the cover. Then you've got a second picture where he's either got his hair brushed over or wearing a wig, carrying a woman, which is also him on the front jacket, and he could easily be one of these as well. Plus the dedicated headshot, which is on each book. So, you know, there he could have been used almost 3 times on the same book cover. That shows how versatile he was. But I think these warranted full-on reproduction. They're so great. Got a bit. I've never read a Spider novel, but they're evidently popular. And these stills are just superb. In a lot of cases, they just don't know who the female models were. They may have just been agency models or something like that. But yeah, what a guy. What a guy. Really crystal clear reproductions of these. There he actually is. Look, there he is, out of character and actually smiling. A rarity in itself. As you can see, if you're a paperback collector, there's lots and lots of eye candy here. The text at the start of each chapter is also really interesting, really informative. I've definitely got that one in my gold key collection, Harry Whittington. And this is very much 200 pages of vintage paperback goodness. There we are, another famous one there, Naked Ape. There we are, great stuff. So there you go, I hope you enjoyed that look at Steve Holland, Paperback Hero. What a great book that is if you're a vintage paperback collector. If you have enjoyed today's video, do please give it that thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage paperback content, and I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.